Now we're going to talk about the dative case in Turkish. The dative case is a set of endings which you add to a noun or a pronoun in Turkish, which is the indirect object of a sentence. What's an indirect object? Let's look at the example sentence, Leyla gives the book to John. So in Turkish, Leyla kitabı John'a veriyor. John, to John, is the indirect object and therefore receives the dative case ending. One of the most common uses of the dative case in Turkish is as the equivalent of one of the English prepositions to, toward, into, or for. So in the case of our example sentence, Leyla gives the book to John. John'a, John in the dative. Let's see how we're going to form the dative. The dative case ending follows the rules of two-way vowel harmony. So we have two alternative vowels we can use depending on the quality of the final vowel in the word we're attaching it to. Let's start with the Turkish word for house, ev. If we want to say to the house or towards the house, we're going to add the appropriate dative case ending. Because of the rules of two-way vowel harmony, for ev, we're going to add evve, to the house. Let's look at the Turkish word for school, okul. If we want to say to the school or towards the school, we're going to again choose the appropriate version of the dative case ending according to the rules of two-way vowel harmony. So for okul, we're going to choose a, okulla, to the school or toward the school. What if the noun or pronoun we want to add the dative case ending to ends in a vowel? So, for example, the Turkish word for university, üniversite, ends in a vowel. We know that Turkish does not like to see two vowels next to each other. Vowel harmony tells us that for üniversite, we're going to choose the e version of the dative case ending, so üniversite e. But because Turkish does not like to see those two vowels next to each other, we're going to add a buffer ye. Üniversite ye, to the university or towards the university. It is also possible to add the dative case ending to a proper noun, like the name of a city or the name of a person. So for example, if we want to say to Ankara, to the city of Ankara, Ankara, well, vowel harmony tells us we're going to choose a, and since we know Turkish doesn't like to see these two vowels next to each other, we're going to use this buffer ye. Ankara ya. Because Ankara is a proper noun though, we're going to need to remember to include an apostrophe between the noun and the dative case ending. So Ankara ya. This is the same thing we're going to do for a proper noun that's someone's name. So if we're giving something to Şengül, we're again going to add an apostrophe before adding the appropriate version of the dative case ending. In this case, for Şengül, Şengüle, to Şengül or towards Şengül. Now, we can also add the dative case ending after the plural suffix in Turkish. So here we had to the house. If we want to say to the houses or toward the houses, start with the Turkish word for house, then add the appropriate version of the plural suffix, so evler, houses, and then add the dative case ending. So to the houses or towards the houses is going to be evler evlere. We can also add the dative case ending after a plural suffix. Excuse me, not a plural suffix, a possessive suffix. So if we want to say towards my house, we'll start with again with the Turkish word for house, ev, then add the possessive suffix im, evim, my house. To say to my house, we'll simply add the appropriate version of the dative case ending after our possessive suffix. So to my house is evime. evime, to my house.